episode of We Making It Woo. Please, if you want to be a part of the conversation, do not forget to email me at Katie. Why? Because it's my name. Smiles, because yes, guys, if you follow my story, you'll know that my smile is very cute. And .nyc, because that's where we at. So, what happened last night? Oh no. Oh wait, I have to sign something. Yes, I'm on. Okay, I'll come and sign later. Sorry, guys. What happened last night? So I actually tutor a really lovely little girl. Her name is Katney. Shout out to Katney. She's not listening. But I made her really sad last night. We are working on reading and comprehension. Also, side note, yes, guys, I tutor on the side. We're working on reading comprehension, and I also struggled with reading comprehension. But when my mom found out that that was an issue, she was kind of hard on me. And so I feel like as a tutor, I'm always like, I try to be really self-conscious about being too hard on her. But I think I was too hard on her yesterday, and I made her really sad. And I thought she thought that she was going to get in trouble because she didn't comprehend the thing.
Just because she didn't know what she was reading?
Right. And it's not that she didn't know what she was reading. I think at this point in her reading, at her reading level, understanding how paragraphs are organized requires for her to really understand the text. Where there were words like Tibet, because it was about Tibet. I think struggling on those little words were preventing her from seeing the large idea. So shout out to Miss Peggy Lisea. I hope you listen. She taught me these strategies in like third grade for standardized testing, where we had to go back. First of all, we had to read each paragraph. Then we had to summarize each paragraph. Then when we got to our questions, you had to prove your answer right.
Oh, damn. That's a long test. And then you
had to prove all of your other answers wrong. Yes. For standardized testing, that was when we had like all day to take one test, which I know certain people out there believe that like it's not really practical to do that. But I used those strategies when tutoring Katney because it really, really improved my reading comprehension, and it also helped me do well in those tests. And I also think just even getting in the practice of summarizing each paragraph as I've gotten older, when I get stuck or something's too difficult to read, I can rely on that skill to say, what did I just read? And if I don't get it, that means I have to reread it. So that is what happened last night. Katney, I'll buy you some ice cream. I tried to buy you ice cream, but maybe it'll be better next week. And I just have to be more aware about like the words that I use so that she doesn't feel discouraged. She feels encouraged. So what else? I am not reading anything. I recently bought Bust magazine. I think Taraji P. Henson on the cover this month. Also, J. Cole is on the cover of GQ, and I'm totally getting that magazine. Hashtag stay tuned, because that interview is going to be the shit. So excited. So that is what I'm reading. So last week we talked about working full time, and I have to apologize to all like 148 listeners, because that's, I think, who you are.
Very exact.
Yes, I think because of the analytics, they tell you who it is. I really want to apologize. I think a lot of the language that I used last week was around you have to have a full-time job, and that is completely untrue because I've only worked full-time for a month. And so I was a little like, Khadija, have you lost your damn mind? That's not what you were supposed to say. But I do think, given the nature of the conversation, you can kind of get like wrapped up in your feels, and I probably totally got wrapped up in mine. But I just wanted to preface this conversation with, you do not have to have a full-time job in order to make things meet. And I want to kind of maybe in another episode or in this episode, I'll kind of clarify maybe my choice in even going full-time in the first place. But obviously, to help me have this conversation, I needed a special guest, a homie. Special guest, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Shantel. I work with Katie at Gibney.
Woo woo!
Yeah.
Shantel, what's your title?
I'm a digital media manager. So I do all of the like digital marketing. Well, I don't do all of it. We do it.
Yes, they're our department, as are all of the things. Even though I don't think I'm on the department, but it's fine. So Shantel is also full time. Yeah. But you recently went full time.
Yeah, in like November, I believe.
So can you tell the people a little bit about your current artistic practice?
Okay, yeah. So aside from doing like video stuff for Gibney, I also make dance works with my friend Lauren. We've been making duet work for like 4 years now, but that has always heavily relied on video work. And so, in a way, I do dance and video.
Cool.
Artistically.
Yes. And so, can you tell me a little bit about what you were doing before you decided to go full time?
Well, I was still doing my job, basically. I was just an associate for like 3 years before I became a manager.
Yeah.
So I've been like in my role for a while. It's just different now because I have like more responsibility. I'm there all the time.
Yeah.
I'm managing projects rather than just like editing or just taping or whatever.
Yeah. So why did you feel like you needed to go full time in the first, or did you feel like you needed to go full time? Like, what was that transition between becoming full time and going part time?
I had been like weighing the option of going full time for a while. That was like put on the plate, but at the time it just wasn't quite right.
Why wasn't it quite right?
Just like the circumstance of the time. Like I knew I was about to leave New York for a month. I had a second job at the time, and I was honestly making more money working 2 jobs than I would have becoming full-time at Gibney.
Right. Which is something that people should be really mindful of. Like,
totally.
That's another side of the conversation that, like, yes, full-time jobs are great because the paycheck is consistent, but you could easily make more money
doing something else.
Part-time jobs.
Yeah, the only problem with that was my part-time job was like very insignificant in like what I wanted to do in my life. You know, I was just like hosting for a startup, like literally just their secretary.
Yeah.
So I was just like wasting time, it felt like. And I genuinely like editing, and I like filming dance and doing that stuff. So I was like, you know, like if it gets offered to me again, when I come back from my month away, then I'll consider it.
Yeah. And also, too, that's something good that people should know about me as well. So back in the summer, I did Bates. And after coming back from Bates, we had some transitions with staff. If you don't know about Gibney, we usually have high turnover, especially around the fiscal year end, which is about the summer.
Especially right now.
But, you know, we're going through things. But I was also offered full time, and I was actually really, really anti full time for a variety of reasons. One being, well, actually primarily being, I had personal issues with the health of the staff. And I thought I forget who I got this from, but yes, I know I got it from Patrick Anderson. But Patrick Anderson, shout out to you, was this guy at the Writing Center that I used to tutor. Shout out to the Writing Center, A&M. And he talked about Malcolm X and how there was like certain like a purity that he kind of went by, like I don't touch these things because of the energy that they carry, or like the badness that they could put into your body.
Right.
And I just felt like, I don't know what people at Gibney was doing, but people was keeping colds for way too long.
Yeah,
and
girl.
People was like having migraine, and I was like, what if I become full-time? I'm going to become unwell. And if you know me personally, you know I'm like a stickler for like not being well. Not just about like sickness, but also like in your mind. I just think like life is too short to be. Also, you know, you just never know what kind of genes you got. Like I don't need to be
stressing out every day.
And then coming up with, you know, some family disease I ain't never seen, but like I'm sitting there stressed out and it's just so happened to fall upon me. No, thank you. And so when they offered me full time too, I was like, look, that sounds great, but y'all ain't got your ducks in a row.
Yeah. Well, and then also it's just like the time is so daunting.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, like the money is going to be great and I don't have to worry about having 2 jobs, but then like when am I going to have time to actually dance? When am I going to even take class? Like,
right. On top, it just says, yeah. There's like the wellness aspect, but then there's also like my day-to-day life. Like, I read so many books last year. I don't know if I'm going to read as many books this year because I'm full-time.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I just want to preface with that, too, because I do feel like we have that in common. So, fast forward a bit until this point where you were like, okay, it's time to go full time.
Yeah. So it got offered to me again, and it was like a better deal for me.
Better in like finances or better in terms of
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay,
I
cool.
had quit that other job when I left for the month. And so I came back to New York like pretty broke and like and this kind of like sort of like saved me financially. And I also like came back to New York after like dancing in Mexico for a month. Um just like knowing that I had a lot to process still, and I maybe
Right.
like wasn't ready to like jump back into a rehearsal process or
Right.
like even into classes, like you know when classes just like don't sound appealing to you
Yeah.
anymore, like
Yeah.
and so I was in that place and I started full time, and it felt good. I don't know, like it felt good to begin at something that like I knew I was getting better at every day because I was working on it all the time,
Right.
and I was like just like practicing and then thinking of my own sort of like video projects
Yeah.
and stuff. But then quickly I realized like, oh damn, like everything is piling up. Like
Right. You said something. You said two things that I want to talk about. But first, how has it been, given that you are in the field or your day to day is so closely related to your creative practice? How has that helped and how has that hurt? Like,
it's hard. Oh my god. It is like hard to be surrounded by dance every single day, like having to film it every single day, having to edit it every single day, like so many different like bits of content that I have to look at. And then when I like at the end of the day when it's like 8 and I get free rehearsal space, it's like I don't even know where to begin. Like I've seen too much. Like I hate a lot now. Like it's so bad. Like I'm a firm believer that like watching things that you don't like is like really beneficial.
right, because you can kind of in the book Creative Quest, he says like the quicker you figure out what you are not,
Yeah.
the quicker you can kind of figure out what you are. And so I feel like when you see things that you hate, you can clearly say like that's not me.
Yeah, but then like seeing the amount of stuff that I see, like I just feel like I'm getting really critical, like and like I'm just like not liking anything. You know, like I can find like
like you're kind of burning out.
Maybe I don't know.
In a way, but not burning out to the extent that you're tired, but just burning out in terms of like inspiration. Like
yeah,
you're not seeing,
and then
inspired.
I'm like scared that like
you're gonna be crappy.
I'm probably making shit that people think is horrible too, and then I don't know, like, but I can say that like at this point I'm like really excited about a new project that I'm starting, and like going into it's like the beginning stages, but it like feels different this time. Like it feels like, you know, I've been like dancing and choreographing for like years now, and like now it feels a little bit like shaky and like I don't know, it's kind of exciting, but it's also like scary.
It's nerve-wracking. And that was the other thing that I wanted to talk about too, and I'm gonna try to segue that back to this original point. So I too was coming off of like a burnout in a way. Not only brokenness, because brokenness is a hell of a burnout.
It's so fucking real.
Right. But also too, kind of like the mentality. Let me explain. So right before I went full time, I was working I think 2 or 3, maybe 4 part-time jobs. But I had gotten these really great opportunities. Like shout out to Jasmine Hearn. I danced at the Judson. That's like hashtag goals for any dancer in the city, especially like the downtown dance scene. And then I'd gotten my like dream job. Shout out to Nia Witherspoon, where I got to act, sing, and dance. Like that was like a goal of mine from like a year ago.
Yeah.
But as we know, with dreams become realities. And so with Nia's job, because it was with the university, we got paid really late.
Always.
And so I think we ended up getting paid like a month late. So I ended up like having to kind of keep my normal expenses, but then compensate for that check that wasn't there. So by the time December, because this happened, I'd say we got paid around October. We were supposed to get paid in September. So by December, I just started to notice how many times a day my brain would default to like, oh, damn, do I have enough money for this? Or do I have enough money for that? but it was way too frequent. It was way, at least for me personally, like it was way too frequent. And so I made a choice that was like, okay, look, the rubber got to meet the road. You can't spend what I would think an hour or two each day collectively worry about money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how can you?
That's a lot of time.
Right.
That's a lot of wasted time.
So much wasted time. Like, and then you're not able to really create at maybe the capacity that you should be because you're so worried about like rent not being paid, especially coming around the holiday time, and you also trying to like do all these other things. So I bring that up to say like, too, sometimes a full-time job or a part-time job or whatever better paying job is kind of like a means to an end, and it just kind of buys you time to kind of process,
right,
to kind of figure out your next move. And I feel like that wasn't something I talked about last week, and that also is not something that people talk about, that sometimes the full-time job is just like a strategic thing just in the meantime between time.
Yeah, because like I mean, I see my artistic practice as like lifelong, you know, and like this job necessarily, I mean, it's not. I know for a fact that like Gibney is not my peak.
Yeah.
It's great right now and I'm learning a lot and all of that. But like, you know, taking a break from dance for right now to like get my mind right and like make some money and feel secure, like is something I'm willing to do.
Yeah. For
now.
Right. Right. And that then helps us segue into this like burnout in other ways. So like yes, it's strategic because you're secure, but then it gives you, I don't know if I would say that it gives me insecurity about making things, but I will say, similar to you, like with the podcast, I try to be critical, right? Like I try to think about like, how is this gonna land? Because the opposite is true for me. Like I do front desk work, y'all. So the things that I work on every day is like customer service skills and making sure that like I know how to de-escalate things. But I feel like because I am at Gibney more, and I want to have work that like means a lot to the and not means a lot, but people get something from. Then I do need to be critical about what I give and what I say, just so that people are getting something from it. Yeah, but I do get that like oversaturation.
Yeah. Or like, I don't know. I also like, I think a big part of it is like, I like lose track of time in that building and like, like don't take time to just be like, I'm going to go take a 5-minute walk outside. Yeah. This is something I was talking about with someone else, like not to like be like rude or like bag on anything, but sometimes that building can like really wash you out. It's like white everywhere. Yeah. It feels like a tech startup, but it's like definitely not. It's like supposed to be like a creative space, and sometimes I just get lost in like the like vast white walls and whiteness of it in general. Yeah. But yeah.
And I think that's also that, and I literally was just about to ask you, how do you maintain a certain amount of mental wellness? But I do think one way for me to maintain mental wellness is, so I've said this a million times, I'm a Capricorn. And the more that I understand like what Capricorns identify as, there is this thing that they say that Capricorns are like, they're like goal achievers. Right. And then they meet a goal and then they just make another one. So for me,
definitely,
it's just like, oh, I see that Gibney has white walls. I have been begging Emily to let me have a pink wall or a blue wall.
In your house?
Yes. And I know that people think like, okay, that's not the same. But if I'm begging for like wallpaper and pink walls, that then lets me know that like one of the things that like really inspires me or like makes me feel good is color. Right. And if you know me, you also know that I'm like, when I feel like I'm a pretty vibrant dresser, like I like big, I like yellow.
Yeah, you do.
I like purple. I like green. And so for me, then it's like, okay, Gibney's great. Full-time may be a struggle. So maybe the next job that I apply for is just a colored space. Yeah. Maybe in the walls.
In both senses of the words.
Maybe in the people. Maybe in the perspectives offered. But I think that is something that I like that. It gives me inspiration because it's like, okay, this is great. Now, how can I build this? The next job that I get has these things. Yeah. But for you, though, how do you maintain? Is it a 5-minute walk? Is it meditation? Is it what? Is it a lot of water?
I'm working on the water. I honestly am like in this coffee phase, which is bad. But I would say that like I find the like balance in my life, like in my weekends. Like I honestly like I really cherish my weekends. And I don't and I mean, that's like one of the greatest perks about being full-time, I think. And I know this is like so random and just like generic, but like Monday through Friday, cool, get all your shit done. And then like my weekends, I'm like, do not email me. I'm not checking my email. Like,
I don't like you at all.
I know.
So let me clarify. That full-time does not mean you don't have weekends off, because I work on Saturday from 2:30 to 10:30. And our department decides that we have to have a meeting from 2 to 3 on Friday. So I am literally at Gibney 6 days a week. I'm working on it.
No, you need to like figure that out. Like,
you already know how this goes.
Or I mean, you have two. Oh, you don't have 2 days off. You have 1 day.
I don't. I have 1 day off, and it is really tricky because my 1 day off is Sunday, and I think Sundays are well, at least for us, because we do meal. Well, you guys don't know, but I do meal prep. So about like 7 or 8, we gotta like make breakfast muffins for the week. We make pasta for a couple of days. We'll probably do like even some rice, because my days are at I'd say I'm coming up on like 13-14 hour days still. Yeah. Even full time. With all the other jobs that I have on the side. And so the meal preps us for the week, but then that makes Sunday just a little shorter because I got to think about that. So hashtag goals would be to have
2 days,
2 consecutive days off.
Let me tell you,
don't have to do.
I totally just like recharge. Like I just work out with my friend every morning. We hang out. We'll go watch like a nice movie. Like, you know, like I just don't think about like dance even. Yes. Sometimes we'll go see a show or something, but it's like I don't feel like I'm on the job, you know?
Yes, and I think that it is so important. I think sometimes too, like even as dancers, I think sometimes get the misconception that like because we love dance, we like only want to do dance. Yeah. But also I think when you are a dancer and a maker and you work in dance admin, I think you need even more of a break, because you're in it way more than the average dancer. Like, because if you're dancing for somebody, you're dancing a lot, but then when you're recording it and then talking about it and then editing it, honey, you're like, you're overseat.
Well, yeah. And then I mean, this is like an interesting topic to bring up, I guess. But like, okay, I've never loved like the idea of like just being a dancer. Like I've danced for like since I was 9, whatever, and like that is like my life. But like I've like really fought hard to like not just be the dancer, right? Which is like weird and like whatever.
So I don't think it's weird.
It's not weird, but it's like I feel like so many dancers that I know, like their whole life is that. Right. And I mean, you and I do other stuff. You do this podcast. Like,
yeah, I also sing. I also write a bit. I also love tutoring. I've been like dabbling in, I guess, fashion. I've just been like thinking about like how I am. Shout out to Derek, who also works at Gibney, but he really inspired me. Like, I think he said like I am my art. Yeah. And I think I just really love exploring different mediums. Yeah. Because it's fun. Yeah. Like,
well, there's this weird thing that happened because like whether I liked it or not, I was like the dancer. And then somehow recently, like, I don't know if it's like perfectly coincided with me becoming full-time or whatever. Like, I've noticed that, like, I don't even introduce myself as a dancer anymore, whereas, like, I used to. Like, now I'm like, oh, I'm a, like, video editor or whatever. And even, like, friends of mine, I've noticed, like, when they're introducing me, they're like, oh, she does video, not, like, she's a dancer. And I'm like, that makes me feel some type of way. Like, now
now you feel like you said
now I'm like, no, now I'm like, wait, no, I'm a dancer. Like, hello? like, just, like, let me have it, even if I only have it for like a couple hours a week now, you know, like 2 sometimes.
And it's so funny because I was talking to a dancer after the performance, and I literally was like, I'm a singer, because I haven't taken class in 3 months, and I always feel a certain kind of pressure to if I identify as a dancer and I haven't taken class and I haven't performed recently, I feel like I can't wear that as a title, which is a whole nother episode, because like
that's a whole nother like crisis
literally
in my head.
because like we both have degrees in it.
Yeah,
like I can go to town on dance history like nobody's business and with joy, on top of the fact that like I understand the body as a vessel for language. And I can say that, and I know what that means, and I'm not out here struggling with it. So
well, and also like we could dance, like
we
dance,
like,
like, you know, whatever, like, and I haven't performed in a long time either, but I'm also like, that's not even like the best part of dancing, like that's not really what I seek out, right? And so like I haven't had these like awesome jobs with awesome companies because like, one, fuck auditioning, and like, two, like I don't know, it just hasn't worked out for me that way. And that doesn't really bother me because there's like all this other stuff about dance outside of performing on a stage that like feeds me better. Yeah.
And I also think that's a great point about why I chose to do this full-time series. Because the reality is, even if you are performing for top companies, that is probably not the only thing that you're doing. Yeah. And maybe you don't do it in the capacity of like having a full-time job and that, but there is some kind of way you're going to slice the pie in order to afford or sustain whatever life that you want. Right. Some people are dancing full-time, and I do have a couple special guests on the way in another episode.
And that's fucking boss. Yes. Like the last thing I want, and I think this is what like scares me about like that path of life, is like I don't want to just be dancing full time and like doing gigs that like I don't enjoy just because I need the money.
Right. And a lot of people would argue that.
A lot of people do that. And like I'm just not that great of an actress. Like I can't like,
you can't put on.
I can't put on like a piece that like doesn't speak to me, you know, or like doesn't feel good in my body or whatever.
And also too, like making, for me at least, whether it be like making a podcast or like writing something that I really was passionate about, that is fueling. And I'd say in some ways sometimes it's more fueling than a creative process because it's mine, right? And I would hate for that to be taken away from me just because it wasn't what a dancer should do. I think having a full-time job or whatever allows you to define what sustains you, and then you sustain yourself, rather than being given this like one image of how a dancer's life should be, right? And then you're trying so hard to fit into it and you're not fulfilled or sustained. That's not making it.
And then you're just worried about money all the time. No,
which really ain't making it.
Let me tell you, that's so stressful. Money is like the evil.
No, I really like, let me explain. I don't think money is evil, but I did come into this year saying like money is a tool. Right. And also like, if money is a tool, what things am I missing? And so like for me, for example, I've talked about this before, I love getting my guest water because it just kind of like builds the brand that is like Katie Smiles or whomever.
Health. Hydration.
Yo, making it includes water. Yes. But also like getting my guest books. And those are two things that I bring up because those are like consistent withdrawals I gotta make out my bank account to sustain a practice that I really, really love. I love, like, I can't even express to you guys. I love having podcasts. It's so fun. So then, like, if money is a tool and that has to be consistent, then what kind of money do I need to keep that consistent? Also, I talked about fashion a little bit. I actually am not... I kind of think that, like, if you like me and you're interested in working with me, it's all based on my ability to meet a task. And most people who work with me know that I'm, like, really capable. Yeah. But the problem is most people may not deem me capable upon seeing me because sometimes I just don't dress the part because I also just feel like I don't have to.
Well, what does that mean, dress the part?
Girl, okay. I've been stepping my game up at Gibney, so Shantel may have not seen it.
No, you have.
But you haven't seen them other days
Oh, before FullTime.
Girl, before.
I remember that. You being your like Adidas track pants and
girl,
shit.
I was out there, and yes, it's not that. I know people are like, but Katie, you work at a dance organization, so it's not that big a deal.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
But I want to be clear that this organization is not my brand. This organization is not a reflection of how I work.
Right.
It is an opportunity to show how I get down.
Samesies.
Yes, but we caught up. we trying to be cute in these streets.
Well, in general, hello.
Yes.
Like, I don't know. I'm not thinking about it as like I'm getting dressed for Gibney. I'm just getting dressed for my day. I don't know what I'm gonna do after Gibney, but I gotta look cute just in case.
See, I was at a place where I was like, look, if you like me, I ain't gotta be cute. I'm here to work. I ain't trying to be cute. But I think in terms of like money being a tool, that was something I thought about. Like, money can be an opportunity for me to really be clear about how I want to be presented in the world. Whereas like before I was FullTime, to be honest, I just didn't have it. Like,
yeah.
Or I would have it for like a month or two. So I probably get my hair braided. Thinking I was
Right.
cute. And then
So what you're saying is you're shopping now.
hell yeah.
Where
But
are you shopping?
Oh girl, Miles Culture, huge shout out to Miles Culture. They're in Bed-Stuy. The blazer that you guys didn't see it. Maybe I'll wear
Is
it
it like
again.
a thrift store?
Kind of. I think it's like a boutique thrift store. So he
Cute.
shops vintage, and then he, I guess, like assembles all the pieces that he wants, and then you shop there.
Nice.
So like I think because I wore like a pink suit on Monday.
Yes, you wore pink pants, pink blazer,
and pink shoes,
and your cute little shoes.
I was trying, y'all.
Damn.
But yes, the pants were from Miles Culture, and then also too like H&M. I got that pink blazer last summer for like $15. But I don't know if other people feel this way, but I am starting to feel this way, that when I look good, I feel good, and also
Totally.
if I'm trying to, because I'm singing and I'm podcasting, most of you know that like this is a different field, and as I'm thinking about getting other jobs in this more TV radio job industry,
Yeah.
I have to look like I'm capable. Yes, my resume will speak for itself, but looking the part offers an opportunity for me to like, I think, to build a bridge where there could be a wall.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, my mom used to always tell me like dress for the job that you want, or like dress to impress, or like whatever, or like, she is a very traditional Mexican woman who just like wanted me to look like a lady.
look like, my mom used to say, look like you belong to somebody.
Right.
Look like you going somewhere.
And that always used to like piss me off so
too.
bad, because I just like was a tomboy for so much of my life. But,
and also, like, I don't have to conform to your standards of professional. Oh, girl, don't
yeah,
get
and
me
I was
started.
like, girl, like, I don't even live here. Like, you see me like 2 weeks of the year. Of course, I'm not putting makeup on. I'm at home.
No.
But I will say that like more than ever, like that has just been like resonating with me, not because of like the way that she saw it, but just like because I feel so much better when I like feel like I look good, or like presentable, or just like have gotten enough sleep.
Right. And I think that, so in terms of like going back to like the money being an evil thing, when you make a little bit more money, you can do things like that. Also too, something that you and I have spoken about a lot is like having your own home.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not talking about buying a home, because y'all know we are both in our 20s, but having your own apartment without roommates does offer a certain amount of mental wellness, because you buy your damn self.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like we have similar living situations where we're like, ugh, like they're fine, but like I would never be friends with them if I didn't live with them.
No, that's not, no, my roommates are fine. This has nothing to do with the personal. This has all to do with like, number one, I've had roommates for like the last 6 years.
Oh, yeah.
I have, y'all, I will talk about it in another episode, but I lived in a 5-bedroom, 5-bathroom.
Oh, shit.
Honey.
You had your own bathroom, though. Hey.
That's not the point. When I had to come up in there and they had them party, like, I won't even go into it. But at this point, too, and I'm also dating somebody that I'm, like, serious about, I will clean up after her, but I'm not cleaning up after her and you and your friend and your other friend's friend and your girlfriend. Not to say there's that many people in our apartment, but it's just a matter of, like...
Sometimes there is.
Right. Sometimes there is. Sometimes being in New York, everybody got different schedules. like I said, having your own place
Yeah.
offers a certain amount of stability. Also, like nesting is becoming a thing. I want to paint. You can't paint when you live with 5 people because you then got to clarify with the other 4 or 3. Like, how do you feel about me painting? What do you think about this? And I don't feel like going through all that.
Yeah. I mean, also, like, I'm just like older now, and I just like want space. And in my in my predicament at the moment, I call it predicament, which is, I mean, it's not that bad, but like I've sort of set up my living space so that like I have everything I need in my room. So often I go home and I just like, I'm like, hey everyone, bye, close my door, and I'm just in my room. Like, and I'm so happy. And it's like, I should just have this.
Right.
You know? And also, I live with 3 boys, and like, I don't love going into the bathroom. Like, they're not dirty or anything, but it's just, if I lived alone, life would be so beautiful.
But the reality of affording that on just performing or multiple part-time jobs is real. Like, I know people who do that, but
we're in New York.
Working full-time does also offer that to be a thing too. And that speaks to another the place that I kind of want to segue to is like transitions. You know, I want to be really clear, these are not the thoughts that I had when I was 22. I actually, like, when I was 22, I actually volunteered to move into a 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom apartment.
Oh.
Long story short, I was graduating and I just was like, look, I just need something. It was because it was about a means to an end.
Right.
I was focused on other things. Where I was living, where I was trying to nest was not what I was trying to focus on. Whereas like now, I'm trying to build this podcast. I'm trying to build my voice as a singer. There's a certain amount of like kind of foundation that I'm trying to set, which then I kind of need a nest to work from.
Yeah. Not
to say that I'm going to die if I don't get my own place, but I think it speaks to that when you get older, or when you, not necessarily even when you get older, it's just that as you do whatever you do long enough, your needs are going to shift.
Yeah, you're like setting new standards.
Yeah.
Like, my new standard is just like, I need my own personal space.
There you go.
How are we gonna get there?
Yeah, and I bring that up because sometimes I think that like I just want to be really clear about where I'm at right now, and that wasn't where I was a year ago, and I probably won't be where I am a year from now, and that is super integral to like the whole concept of making it. Like, I feel like a big part of like getting older is like being really clear. Shout out to Caroline Lloyd, who also worked at Gibney. She recently wrote an article and she talked about the famous quote, you know, the only thing that's constant is change. And so how can we be nice to ourselves? How can we be patient with ourselves as we change? And I thought that like doing this series was an opportunity for me to be patient with myself, but also speak to people who are also going through these transitions.
Yeah.
To be like, look, yo, we out here.
We are.
We going through it.
I have a question for you.
Go for it. Nobody asked me questions.
How do you feel about time? Like the time it takes to transition, and just like recognizing time, like you just said, a year ago, a year from now.
How do I feel about time? Well, when you first said it, I thought about like my days. So like, for example, yesterday I had to be to work at Gibney at 7:30.
Damn.
I'm recovering for some injuries, so I had to be at the body worker at 7, which means I didn't get home till 9. So what is that, like a 14-hour day?
Yeah.
And that's a 14-hour day. Keep in mind, I still had to send some emails after that. So the issue that I'm having with time right now is that because I'm full-time and I open and I'm a front desk person, my days from a 7:30 perspective, like when I start at 7:30, I'm not gonna finish until maybe 10 or 11. So for me, it's also for me in terms of time, the thing that I'm really thinking about right now is like, I don't technically only work full time. I do other things. So like, how does this become sustainable? Because I'm not dropping my part-time jobs right now because I really love them. So it could be for me about finagling that. But in terms of transitions, you know, it's really hard for me because I too get worried about what people think and how I look. And I don't want people to think I'm selling out and like I don't want to be.
What do you mean selling out?
Like, I was supposed to be ride or die dancer, Martha Graham, Ailey, hashtag modern dancer, Justin, downtown dance, Adidas pants, all the things. Whereas right now,
we're not there.
I'm not. And it to be honest, when I think that's something that has helped me, I've tried to reflect a lot. And when I go back the last at least 2 years, maybe in the last 3, I have wanted to sing for a long time, but I was always scared because my degree was in dance. I worked so hard. Y'all, I argue with my mom for years about becoming a dancer.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, but I reflect on that to say that I've always wanted to sing. So when I get to a point where I made my New Year's resolution and I say like, oh, this year I really want to become a confident singer, I can reflect on these other moments and think back to like, honey, this is not new.
Yeah, you've done this.
You've wanted this too.
Yeah.
So this is just a part of a process. And I think, so that's what's helpful. I can think back and say, I'm here, but I can look back and say, but you didn't just stumble up into this place. Yeah. You have been building through maybe some detours. And that's comforting, right?
Do you set like due dates for yourself? Like,
yes. So those of you following me on Instagram, I recently posted me singing online, which was a lot.
How did it feel? Were you like so freaking scared?
No, I wasn't, because I talked myself up. Like, I talked to my vocal coach. I talked to Emily about it. And also the people that were there that night who watched that performance were friends. So I felt like I had like, again, baby steps.
Supported though.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so like I was like 3 months into the year, I need to share myself. Like, cause I think one of my mantras this year was like, share more. What are you making? How can you share it? So I said 3 months in, I need to do something public.
Yeah.
And I had thought like, oh, maybe I'll just record my voice lesson, because that's what we do in my voice lesson. We just sing.
Yeah.
But it just so happened that like Emily, shout out to Boo, she's great, she recorded the performance. So I shared that. And then I also was like, I want to have a weekly podcast. That is a big part of like sharing my process in a way that I love. And so I was super nervous, and I still get nervous with the podcast too. Yeah.
I feel that way about dance.
What do you mean?
I'm very insecure, which I feel like you know this, but
no, I didn't.
But like that was one of my goals also, like starting this year, which I like have not kept up with. Yeah, like to share dance. Like, you know this, like I have like multiple Instagrams. One of them is like my dance Instagram. Yeah. And then the one that I use every day. I like never post on my dance Instagram, and like
you just gotta do it.
I know, but like it's, you know, I think maybe it also is because like I film dance all day, like to then like film myself and like put it up, like it just feels so conflicting and like hard, and I'm also like, why does anyone care? You're not even doing anything right now. But that's something I'm working through. I feel like confidence is like a lifelong lesson that I've been working on.
And I will say too, the timeline for me is like super objective. It doesn't, like, for example, when I set the goal to share, I didn't say I was going to share a song, because like with singing, for example, there are certain songs that I don't need to share. Right. No, it ain't it. It ain't
not ready.
But so like when I made that goal, it wasn't like share this thing. It was just share. Right. And so it becomes less about who's going to see it, who likes it. It's really, I just needed to get into the practice of being vulnerable. Right. And that for me helps confidence. And so I try to think about it like that. Like, Khadidra, what are you supposed to do today? You're supposed to do your singing lesson. You're supposed to review your song. You're supposed to do your PT exercises. And then you're supposed to go to bed. As long as you check your boxes, it really don't matter.
Yeah. Do you sing for Bae?
Oh, all the time. Aww. I bet she be over it, because sometimes she be trying to talk to me about like what jam we getting at the store, and I be singing my little heart out.
I love that.
It's not the most convenient.
What's the go-to jam?
Oh, I don't have one. Because like if we in the store and Shaka Khan is on, I'm about to sing it. Or one, oh my gosh, Babe. I always talk to her at the podcast sometimes, but there was one night where we went back and looked at like the top 40 songs of like 2007.
All hits.
All
Nothing
hits.
but hits.
And she loves the Hate That I do you remember the Hate That I Love You song by Neo and Rihanna?
It was I hate how much.
Girl, I didn't even need to sing the song because Emily sang the whole song.
I
And
would love to see that.
You know how you be trying to sing, but people be singing and they start putting their finger up in the
Oh
air.
my, that
and
one
they
part
be
where he's like, I hate that I love you so.
and she went to that super early. So like when I sing songs, I go through like the whole verse, chorus, verse. She like, so, and I'm like, okay.
Damn, okay. You coming to a singing lesson with me?
I'd actually love to sing with her. I've tried to like make it happen, but she don't be here for it.
Who'd be Neo? Who'd be Rihanna?
Oh, I would be Neo because her voice is like her high pitches is just more comfortable because her speaking voice is higher. I would have to
You have to be Neo.
Yeah.
Do the little spin with the fedora.
Yes, and girl, I hold a bass note. Damn. But that also speaks to like, you know, one way that FullTime becomes really nice is like having a partner or a friend to kick it with that just like lets you know that it's not forever, it's not as bad as it seems.
It's not that deep.
It's not that deep. Also, I love having you there at Gibney. Also, like realty. So people who don't work at Gibney, I work at Gibney and Shantel works at Gibney, and we both know that like I refer to Gibney as a starter job. It's just not somewhere you stay. And when I think about leaving, one of the hardest parts is thinking like Chantel's not gonna be in my other job. All the other people who I've mentioned in other episodes are not going to be there. And that is so like, I feel like it's like the scariest thing.
100%. I feel like that's what keeps so many people there.
Yeah.
You know, because at a certain point, we all plateau. Like there's only a certain level we can get to where we're like, all right, cool.
Now we need more, or we need more resources than maybe Gibney can offer.
Yeah. Like I said, this is not our peak, like at all. But there are so many amazing people like that work there or just like are there. And when you're there every day, you get to like see your homies. And I feel like one of the reasons I really enjoy my job is because like my department is so separate from everywhere else at Gibney.
Y'all. They're literally in the back.
Literally like in the back room.
In the cut. Like their own
We have a code on our door. Like you guys cannot just enter. Like we have to let you in. But like it's also created this like nice like environment where like the homies like will drop by. Like Katie will always drop by. Yes. Derek will always drop by. Like the people that I feel really close to, like just come and hang and we can work together and we can take small little chats and like that is like a moment of respite for me always. And
and also I say that to just provide comfort for anybody that's thinking about going full-time or like, oh my gosh, full-time is so daunting. There is a scripture or I know it as a scripture, but I always keep it with me. Like growing up at church, they would always say God will send you comfort. And no, I'm not super religious per se, but I do try to carry that with me. I feel like you guys are always my comfort. I feel like if I'm struggling or if I don't understand something, you guys are always there, just to kind of put things in perspective. And I think in terms of making it, especially with Amy's episode with David, you know, mentorship, relationships, those relationships, those interactions will keep you and ground you just as much as your dreams will, if not more so. Because your dreams will shift and you'll have crisis, but when you have those people who are going through the same things, I don't know, it just makes you feel like you're not crazy.
Like just support. And like an ear, you know? Super beneficial always. So before we get up out of here, I want to talk really quickly, black and white. What's up? Pros and cons of being full-time. Okay. Pros and cons. Pros. Money. Money and not like stretching yourself too thin with multiple incomes. Right. Con, reorganizing the structure of your day. Like every day. Right. Another con, less time less time, like in general, like, you know, before I'd be like, I'm gonna go to California for a week, like out of nowhere, and like y'all can't really tell me anything because I'm part-time, so whatever. So but now that's a lot harder. Pro is feeling like I'm making a more of like an impact, you know, like I'm there every day, I'm able to like be a part of projects every day and like moving my department forward.
Yeah.
Whereas before, like, you know, 15 hours a week, I'd just come in 3 hours a day and like, I don't know, not really understand what we're doing, you know?
Right.
Another pro is being with my friends.
Yes.
Duh. And also free classes whenever I can have the time to take them.
Yeah. I'm working on that.
Yeah, working on it.
I'm not. That's not on my list for this year.
Con, a little bit more stress. But, I mean, stress comes and goes, and I'm working on handling it better.
Yes, with working out. Yes. And I saw you eating greens yesterday with some carrots.
Yo, I'm trying to have my hottest body this year. I'm 25. Like, it's only going to get harder.
I need to work on that.
I need my Sierra abs.
Ooh.
I know.
Come on, back in goodies day. I mean, also Sierra's abs are so great. But
ride days.
Okay, Shantel. So where can people find you? Your work, if they need you to edit something, how can they get to you?
Oh my God, please. I hope you don't take my like criticism earlier that I was talking about too seriously. But hey, if you like criticism, I got you. I was kidding. Please email me. My name is Shantel Prado at gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram at prado.bag, or hey, I'm gonna start posting dance more at Shantel Prado. And I work at Gibney, so just drop by my office.
Hey, because you got an office. If you trying to find me, just come by the front desk. I'll be there at 2:30 today. So as always, I want you to make it live. I want you to make it breathe, but ultimately struggling.